When you think of nonprofits, you probably picture something wholesome. You might picture dedicated volunteers ladling soup in a homeless shelter, or maybe earnest conservationists saving a baby panda. It's a wholesome, heartwarming picture, isn't it? This is what we call the halo effect. The very idea of a nonprofit is so wrapped up in virtue and selflessness that we automatically assume everyone involved must be operating with the purest of intentions. They are, after all, not-for-profit. The name says it all. It's a brilliant piece of branding, really. This inherent trust is the bedrock of the entire non-profit sector. These organizations are supposed to be the good guys, stepping in where governments and for-profit companies can't or won't. They exist to serve a mission, not a bottom line. Whether it's curing diseases, supporting veterans, protecting the environment, or promoting the arts, their entire purpose is to make the world a better place. And because their cause is noble, we extend that nobility to the people running the show. We see a heartfelt commercial asking for donations to help puppies, and we reach for our wallets without a second thought. Who would be monstrous enough to lie about helping puppies? That feeling of doing good is powerful. It's a transaction where we give money and in return, we get to feel like a better person. It's a subscription service for a clear conscience. Donating $20 to a cause you believe in feels like you've cast a small vote for a better world. The problem is, this emotional transaction relies almost entirely on trust. This trust is essential, but it's also a massive, glaring vulnerability. And that's the shocking truth at the heart of this whole mess. Some people have figured out that this halo of trust can be used as a shield. They've realized that if you wrap a for-profit enterprise in the feel-good packaging of a nonprofit, you can get away with an astonishing amount. You get all the benefits of public goodwill and tax exemptions, but you can still find clever, often legal ways to line your own pockets. It's a perfect scheme. The very thing that makes nonprofits so wonderful, our faith in them, is twisted into a tool for personal enrichment. It turns our desire to help others into a way for a select few to help themselves. So how does a mission to save the world turn into a personal piggy bank? It's often a slow, methodical process, built on a foundation of clever accounting and exploiting good faith. Imagine you want to start a fake charity. First, you need a mission that no decent person could argue with, providing artisanal, gluten-free sandwiches to left-handed accordion-playing war heroes. With your noble mission established, you file the paperwork to become a 501c3 organization. Now the real fun begins. The next step is to start raising money. You create slick marketing materials with stock photos of sad-looking accordion players and launch a massive fundraising campaign. The donations start pouring in because, again, who hates left-handed heroes? But here's the trick. You don't actually have to spend that money on the mission. Instead, you can start paying yourself a reasonable salary. What's reasonable? The term is beautifully vague. You could decide that the CEO of a heroic accordion charity deserves a $500,000 salary for their stressful, demanding work. And since you're the one in charge, you get to make that call. But why stop at just a salary? That's where a technique called self-dealing comes in. There is a special category of nonprofit that operates with a level of financial secrecy most corporations could only dream of. When you can claim your work is being done in the name of God, it becomes incredibly difficult for anyone, including the government, to ask too many questions. This creates what you might call the God loophole, and some have driven a multi-million-dollar private jet right through it. Televangelists have perfected the art of blending ministry with massive personal wealth, asking followers for donations to spread the gospel while living lifestyles that would make a king blush. Consider Jesse Duplantis, who asked followers to donate for a $54 million private jet. He said it was necessary to preach globally. This is part of a larger pattern. In 2007, a Senate investigation into 6 major televangelist ministries found jaw-dropping abuses. Leaders allegedly bought luxury homes called parsonages, bought $100,000 motorhomes for their dogs, used church-owned jets for vacation getaways. When questioned, they refused to cooperate, citing separation of church and state. The investigation fizzled with no consequences. Most nonprofits file a Form 990 detailing finances. Churches are exempt. They don't have to report how much money they have, where it comes from, or how it's spent. This creates a financial black hole. The Mormon Church was fined by the SEC for using shell companies to hide a $32 billion fund. A whistleblower alleged it was closer to $100 billion, run like a hedge fund while tax-exempt, making accountability nearly impossible. The God loophole allows faith to be used as the ultimate shield against financial scrutiny. It might surprise you to learn that many of the world's biggest sports governing bodies, like FIFA and, until recently, the NFL, operate as non-profits. They are granted this status under the premise that they exist to promote their respective sports for the public good. However, this non-profit label has been used to create what are essentially untouchable global cartels, where loyalty to the organization is prized above all else, and insiders can enrich themselves with stunning impunity. This is the loyalty loophole, where the internal culture of a non-profit becomes a fortress against outside accountability. The most infamous example of this is, of course, FIFA. In 2015, the world watched as FBI agents raided a luxury hotel in Switzerland, arresting top FIFA officials. The subsequent investigation uncovered a sprawling, decades-long scheme of bribery and corruption. Officials had been taking hundreds of millions of dollars in bribes to award World Cup hosting rights to countries like Russia and Qatar. Chuck Blazer, a U.S. soccer official, admitted to taking so many kickbacks that he could afford to rent a $6,000 a month apartment in Trump Tower just for his cats. Yes, his cats had a more expensive apartment than you do. This wasn't just a few bad apples, it was the entire business model. The non-profit structure was key. It gave FIFA's leadership total control over the massive river of money flowing from sponsorships and media rights, with almost no external oversight. Loyalty was everything. The loyalty loophole shows how a non-profit can become a kingdom unto itself, where the only rule that matters is protecting the insiders. Now we enter the murky world of political non-profits, where the line between social welfare and raw political power is so blurry, it's practically invisible. These organizations, often called 501c4s, are supposed to exist to promote social welfare. But in reality, they've become the primary vehicles for dark money in American politics. They can take unlimited donations from corporations, unions, mega-rich individuals, and, here's the kicker, they never have to disclose who their donors are. This has created a system where billions of dollars can be funneled into elections with complete anonymity, all under the guise of a non-profit. Both sides of the political aisle have mastered this game. On the left, you have groups like the 1630 Fund, which raised nearly $400 million in 2020, more than the Democratic National Committee itself. The vast majority of that money came from just a handful of anonymous donors. One of the few known contributors was a Swiss billionaire who, as a non-U.S. citizen, would normally be barred from donating to political campaigns, but through the magic of a 501c4, he could legally pour money into influencing American elections without anyone knowing. On the right, the National Rifle Association, or NRA, built one of the most formidable lobbying machines in history as a social welfare nonprofit. This status allowed it to spend millions on political ads and candidate endorsements without revealing its donors. But the NRA's story also highlights another dark side of this world: self-enrichment. The organization's longtime CEO, Wayne LaPierre, was found guilty of using millions in donor funds as his personal piggy bank. This abuse is made possible by what you could call the illusion of legitimacy. The result is a system that turns democracy into a pay-to-play game, fueled by secret money and run by unaccountable insiders. When a disaster strikes, earthquake, hurricane, pandemic, we see images of suffering and devastation and our hearts ache. We open our wallets and donate. Relief organizations promise to deliver aid to those in desperate need. This surge of generosity is one of the best parts of human nature. But it creates the perfect environment for predatory non-profit fraud. This is the crisis loophole. Urgency trumps scrutiny. People want to give money fast. Fake charities, called briefcase charities, pop up overnight. During COVID-19, thousands of scam websites appeared. They impersonated groups like the Red Cross and UNICEF. Convincing donation pages and social media posts tricked people into sending money. Scammers vanish with the cash. Victims left without aid. Donors betrayed. Not just fake charities. Sometimes big, legitimate names fail too. After the 2010 Haiti earthquake, the world pledged over $13 billion. The American Red Cross raised nearly $500 million and launched a campaign to build homes. Years later, ProPublica and NPR investigated. The Red Cross claimed to have housed over 130,000 people. But it built 6 permanent homes. 6. In the end, human suffering becomes a business opportunity, and the people who need help the most pay the price. After hearing all these stories, where is the government here? Why isn't the IRS or other federal agencies cracking down? The system designed to regulate nonprofits is woefully underfunded, understaffed, and legally neutered. The watchdog has no teeth, and the bad actors know it. First and foremost, the IRS is primarily a revenue collection agency. Non-profits don't pay much tax, so the IRS puts few resources into policing them. The number of agents auditing non-profits is incredibly small versus the huge number of organizations out there. Audit chances are minuscule, like patrolling an ocean with a single rowboat. There are powerful legal loopholes protecting some non-profits. Churches are largely exempt from financial reporting. Political non-profits have strong free speech protections. Even when fraud is found, penalties are tiny. Fines are often a fraction of the theft, just a cost of doing business. Wayne LaPierre, ordered to pay $4.35 million after decades of luxury. Mormon Church, fined $5 million for hiding at least $32 billion. Without severe consequences, the incentive to cheat stays dangerously high.